These next two stories from Zen Flesh, Zen Bones, number 39 and 40, are both about sleeping. And they're both very, very simple. A young 12-year-old boy was studying Tendai philosophy, and he was studying in the summer. In the summer in southern China, it gets really hot. So he was studying, and as often happens, it's hot, it's tedious, it's kind of some boring stuff for a 12-year-old, and of course, he became very drowsy, dozed off. Now, his teacher was out of the room at the time he did that. So, he was there lolling back, and probably with all the other students, perhaps even stretched out on the floor, and how long the teacher had been gone. And then, in the afternoon or a little later, the teacher came back. Now, in the traditional teacher-student relationship, the teacher probably would, yell or hit something or wake people up or say, you should really be awake. Pay attention. But this teacher was very kind, and he carefully came into the classroom and carefully avoided disturbing all of his students, and said, I beg your pardon, please excuse me. Now, that consideration struck this little boy very deeply. Someone, instead of giving a typical reaction, I beg your pardon. And the little boy vowed to not sleep, to really make use of his time. He was so affected by that. Well, he became a teacher, and he also had students, and he also was in a classroom. And he also aged, and it also was a hot summer day. So here is this little boy, Soya Shaku, now grown up to be a full Roshi. Shaku means monk. Hot afternoon, and he starts falling asleep. And he's dozing away up there. And his students were falling asleep, dozing away. And Soyen woke up and saw his students, and this time, instead of saying, excuse me, he said, wake up everybody, what are you doing? And the students then kind of challenged him and said, well, we were just taking a nap in this hot summer, what were you doing? And Soyen says, well, I was obviously going to the Pure Land, I was going to one of the heavenly realms, I was taking direct instruction from the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas. What was the message of all those sages, says the kids. Sorry, I missed this one. So Soyen Shaku said, I would go into the Dreamland, just like Confucius did, and meet with the great sages, and they would teach me. And then I'll come back here and teach you. Well, on this particular day, the students had been asleep also, and he woke them up, and he said, what are you doing? And they said, well, we were sleeping. We went into the Dreamland. We went to the same place of sages that you said you go to. And we asked the sages, had they seen you? And nobody could say that you'd been there. Dreams. Each of us has his or her own dreams. Each of us has his or her own world. Awake, asleep, dreaming, waking, sharing dreams, sharing waking life. It all has a dreamlike nature in this instant after instant after instant, coming into being, disappearing, coming into being, disappearing, at night, during the day. It's all a dream. It's all a dream. So from a perspective of, Orthodox student, wake is good, sleep is not efficient. But from the perspective of reality, we sleep, we're awake, we're asleep, we're awake. And the issue is our ability to be present, our ability to not go unconscious, even in the middle of sleep. Waking up, even asleep.